All right, welcome to Gen X Rated Tuesday edition. How we doing, Billy?
Doing pretty good. Good to be back. I missed you on Saturday, and Tim O did a great job. Put up some great numbers, so I guess I better be careful.
That's right. Well, he's no Uncle Bill, we'll say that, but he did a nice job. It was
He did
kind
a
of a
really good
last minute
job.
thing, as you're aware of, and we've talked to Tim before. He's one of our favorite listeners, so worked out well, and I thought he did a nice job. He has a little, has some different points of views, but that's always a good thing.
Yeah, no, I thought he did really well. So, um, really good numbers on that one, and I might get Wally pipped if you're old
I
enough
don't
to get that reference.
I do. Um, Perhaps though we could have him and yourself on Thursday. We'll see.
I think that'd be great.
I don't
Um,
want to dream. I don't want to dream too big, but the two of you, a couple of big personalities. I don't know. Maybe I'll be looking for a new job.
I don't think so. I mean, you're the ringleader of this circus, so yeah. Without you, it just devolves into chaos.
Well, I appreciate that, and yeah, I guess we'll see. We'll see what tomorrow brings. I did want to start off today with Ozzie. Uh,
Hmm.
Ozzy Osbourne passed today. I know most people saw it at his uh, Black Sabbath concert. It was kind of his say goodbye moment. He couldn't really get out of his recliner. I think he was diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2019. Um, and I think what really did him in, he had some sort of back surgery to help alleviate some of his pain. Something he said in the end he would never do again.
Hmm.
But here's a younger Ozzy. Just kind of crazy. 76 doesn't seem that young. Here's a really young Ozzy.
Yeah.
But yeah, as crazy as growing up, I thought he was biting the heads off bats and stuff. I don't know. You get older and you realize he was just a performer, right?
Hmm. Yeah, and a really good one, man, and a guy that came from nothing, really humble working class roots, and just a big part of the British rock wave with Black Sabbath, and yeah, he was really something. He's going to be missed. It's a sad day.
Absolutely. Yeah. But it was nice he was able to kind of go out on his own terms, so to speak, and surrounded by his family. I know his wife was a rock in that relationship. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Well, he'll
gone too
be
soon. I'm sorry.
yeah too soon, but he'll be reunited with Randy Rhoads, his guitarist that tragically died young. So
Yeah. So in heaven, I think you better get your earplugs out because it's
yep,
about to get loud.
gonna get loud.
I hope that's the case. That should be good.
Yeah.
Um, so the president as well is making some noise today. Things just keep getting weirder and weirder.
Mm.
As you told me getting on here, that the House, thanks to Mike Johnson, is now going to go on summer vacation. Um, they really don't like the distraction. I guess it all comes down to this guy and his choice of friends.
Yeah.
Whoa, there's Maxwell again. Well, that's strange. Whoa, wait a minute. And there's her friend, the friend of a friend. And then the two friends again. I mean,
Hmm.
oh my gosh. What, I mean, does it ever stop this witch hunt?
Such a witch hunt.
I mean, now the idea is to send Todd Blanche. Of course, they label it through Bondi, the attorney general, but she's going to send the deputy attorney general down to prison to have a little talk with her and see what she knows.
Yeah.
Um,
You know what? The last time an attorney general showed up to interview Epstein, he was gone a couple of days later. So I'm surprised she's still around, actually, knowing what she knows, that she's managed to, keep breathing for this long. But yeah, I wonder. That should be an interesting meeting. And I'm sure maybe if I don't know if those recorded, those meetings? Are they on
it
camera?
better be. She should have an attorney with her. I know Bill Barr went in solo, but Bill Barr also presented as a friend of uh, Trump and obviously of Epstein. I mean, Epstein's not even where he is if it's not for Bill Barr's dad. So, um, too many tie-ins. This
Mhm.
Blanche fellow, was Trump's personal attorney. And they just want to see about making some kind of cooperation agreement. Maybe that stops her from talking to the press. They really didn't care for that with the Wall Street Journal. The House did have the votes today to subpoena Maxwell. The interesting part of that is the mix is far right, like the MTG Greenies, and the progressive left. Both agree that this should come out.
Yeah, really interesting. We finally found common ground against pedophilia. So that's something. You take it. But it's really interesting that, Mike Johnson's willing to essentially shut down the government to avoid this issue, to run away. And he said that, well, the White House needs some space to operate, which means we're going to send in Trump's hatchet man and either make threats or strike some kind of a nefarious deal. So I hope all of this meeting is on the record and transparent, because there's no telling what these people are going to come up with.
Well, and they were demanding that it should be, but it reminded me of the time where Trump met with Putin, and they had he had no translator with him.
Yeah, which was unprecedented. That's just not done.
Correct. And something as volatile as this, I would hope the same. Of course, the Justice Department says that they came out with the courage to do this. They're the first administration reaching out to ask, what do you know?
I mean, every time they open their mouth, there's just a stream of just lies coming out, and
it's just comical.
Ridiculous.
I mean, It's offensive to any kind of prosecutor or law enforcement person that would have run into her before she was sentenced to 20 years, that nobody asked her what she knew. And she just went to prison for 20 years. It's a little crazy.
It's a lot crazy. So yeah, this is really getting interesting. I mean, I think the cracks are starting to show, and we'll see. Trump seems to be flailing. I mean, yesterday he was blaming Obama, looking to go after Obama, but the same immunity that protects Trump protects Obama as a past president. So
I don't think that he recognizes that. The last thing I'll say about Giselle is that, or Jesseline Maxwell, is that her family's pretty concerned with her being in jail. I think, the blueprint's already there. I could certainly understand why they would be concerned.
They should
but
be.
We'll see. She does come from means outside of Trump's cloister. So I think with the power that she has, and also not being, a layman, so to speak, that she has a fighting chance. We'll see. I mean,
we shall see. I mean, yeah, she's way more connected than Epstein was.
For sure.
But who knows what kind of bullshit story they'll feed her and make her come out with. So I just, if there's any kind of credibility involved in this whole thing, she will have an attorney in there, and there will be a transcript of this, so everybody can see exactly what was said. Which
I would certainly hope so.
I wouldn't bet the ranch on it, but who knows? But meanwhile, MAGA's asking questions.
The soft belly of the GOP really doesn't care. They're still
the MTGs do, and she's pretty popular with some of these people, so it'll be interesting.
Like 5 or 6 people that like her. Yesterday, you brought up that point about Trump going after Obama yesterday, which was more about Gabbard trying to prosecute Obama and Clapper and Brenner, and just moving on, talking about the influence they had in the 2016 election, the 2020 Russia hoax. She's just throwing anything out there. Treason, conspiracy versus citizens of the United States. I mean, again, you're just putting all this stuff out there to see what sticks. Now, this was Gabbard. This was yesterday. But today, Trump is doubling down. And this is part of why you're seeing Mike Johnson shut down the House until September 1st, because they don't want this stuff coming up. And Trump basically said in his 2-minute talk, Obama's guilty. Obama did this. We have him dead to rights. There has to be, he's going after his enemies, which he says, right or wrong, they're going to do it. So Obama's a pretty popular and powerful person in his own right. And to your point, you said about Roberts and the laws that they set up for presidents, that's fine. What I would like to see, and oftentimes on here we don't speak super highly of Obama. He could have done more. He didn't do enough voting rights. He didn't do enough for healthcare, et cetera.
Mhm.
We can talk about all that. He saved the banking industry, et cetera. I don't love any of it. But maybe it's time for him to push back. He's a person that is respected by a lot of people,
Mhm.
middle to left. And it would really be time now for us to stop with this nonsense, the fake news that Trump likes to portray, the fake assassinations, the fake numbers on healthcare, the fake numbers on our economy. Everything's
Yeah.
fake. We need somebody that people would listen to say, hey, he seems to make sense. We've trusted him for 8 years and things didn't go into the toilet necessarily.
Mhm.
It's time. I don't know who else is going to fight back for us, because with Trump now going after Obama, this is the peak of fakeness and what you're trying to put onto somebody else that you've done.
Yeah, and it's gone from ludicrous to very concerning. With the flip of a switch, it really is, because you just can't have this. So all of a sudden, he's veering into complete dictator territory, where I'm going to prosecute my enemies with no basis in fact, but I'm going to do it because I can, to distract from my own misdoings, alleged. Um, but yeah, this is concerning. This is not something that happens in a functioning, stable, and healthy democracy. So, I think anybody and everybody should be concerned.
Well, and he's scary. You push a rat into a corner, you're going to have some serious consequences. He's going to come out fighting, and again, he's claiming this Epstein hoax, and then in the same breath, he's talking about his record numbers, his polling numbers: 90%, 92, 93, 95% of all Republicans. This is where he's at in their mind, in his mind rather.
Hmm.
I just don't see it. I just
No, those numbers are not true. And it's like on The Simpsons, when Homer looked in the mirror and he's flexing his pecs and traps, and that's what he sees. But the rest of us just see sloppy old Homer Simpson. So yeah, Grandpa Peepaw Trump can see what he wants to see, claim what he wants to claim, but dude, that brain is turning to mush.
Well, he's got enough enablers that it just seems like they're going to push this as far as they can. I mean, we
Well,
saw Scott. Go ahead.
I think Bondi's losing credibility
She'll be
amongst
gone,
amongst people on the right. Yeah, I think she might be the next one to go under the bus.
probably.
Tulsi Gabbard never had any credibility. I mean,
Correct.
nobody was backing that idiot.
But
So
you're going to replace him with somebody better. I mean, it's the same guy who's placing these people, and some of them just bought right in. Bissett, the Treasury Secretary, just goes nuts now. It's like, we've never had. Nobody's used to such a high executive functioning president before, and he's so smart. And this was a guy that was supposed to be very smart himself. But I guess once you see the writing on the wall and the money comes rolling in, you'll say anything, because he's just not believable at this point.
no, he's not believable. I mean, it's as ludicrous as when his last physical came out that said he was 6'3" and 220 and in the peak of health and solid muscle.
There's a Bissett, by the way.
Yeah, I
Bissett.
mean, when this guy's lips are moving, he's lying, much like Trump. And to say that the economy is that great, that's not going to fool people, because that is one thing that you don't need to look at the stats to know that your grocery bill is going up, your daily expenses are going up, your dollar is not going as far as it did. So, and when you're being handed this bullshit by people that literally don't touch cash, right?
Yeah.
Somebody pays their bills. They have an accountant. They have people that open their mail. They have an accountant that pays they don't even see it.
Yeah.
Now, maybe they carry around a stack of hundos to, maybe do a little tipping or whatever when they're out and about, maybe at the club, who knows? But I mean, these are people that they don't live in reality. They don't go to the grocery store. They're not filling up at the pump. I mean, Trump claiming $1.99 gas, uh, maybe on Epstein Island, I don't know, but
I paid
I'm not.
292.50 today was what I paid. I've never seen that. I don't think anybody has, obviously.
Yeah, I
You're
paid
a liar.
$2.99 the other day, but again, they can say whatever they want to, but I really think that's one of the few things that people can see for themselves how it's affecting them.
I totally would agree, and I feel like the gaslighting only goes so far. And like you said, these guys aren't getting a receipt at the grocery store because they're not going there.
Yeah,
Uh,
right.
this is Commerce Secretary Lutnick, also we talked about the other day, who was neighbors with Trump's
Sure.
buddy Epstein. This guy's big in crypto, so they're all making money out of Qatar. This guy's a billionaire. I mean, there's no hiding that. But when he's on shows and they say, hey, consumer prices are up, and he says, you know what? They're actually shockingly low.
Yeah,
Um,
for this guy who doesn't actually know what things cost, you could, if you ask him right now what the cost of a gallon of gasoline cost, or the cost of a gallon of milk, or a loaf of bread, he couldn't tell you.
$1.98 gas is what he'd tell you.
Yeah, this guy could not tell you because he doesn't know. He doesn't see it. These people do not live in the same economic reality as we do.
Well, we'll give him a chance. He said in 2 weeks, everything's going to be amazing.
Well, maybe Taco is going to flip again. We'll see. But
The downside is he said he's been saying 2 weeks for months.
well, how long ago did Trump tell us he had the concept of a health care plan? Little did we know that concept was to cut Medicare and Medicaid, but we're still waiting to see the plan.
Well, and they just keep adding to that. They're now cutting 300. I'll come back to that. Let me stick on Lutnick here. He's saying how these great jobs are going to be there. These plumbers are going to make 150,000 a year. These electricians with AI, it's going to be phenomenal. But what we're finding out is that 58% of students that graduated last year are still looking for their first job. The previous year, that was at about 25%. They were still looking for their first job. 60% is pretty high. Also add into that, we're losing not only in the service industry, but we talked about tourism, the cuts in tourism. People don't want to come here. People are afraid to come here. The U.S., out of 184 countries that sees foreign visitors spend money, we're the only one that's falling. They're not bringing in that money that 183 other countries still are. And that Brazilian tariff, which was out of spite because Trump didn't like their handling of their wannabe dictator, that 50% tariff in Brazil is going to make your orange juice prices go up 20%. I don't drink orange juice, so I don't really have an issue with that per se.
But a lot of people do.
A lot of people do. And it's big in Florida. And Florida is supposed to be the Mecca. We all want to be like DeSantis' state because it's so amazing.
Ugh. I hope I never have to set foot in that state again.
And with these tariffs, I just want to say that it came out again today because we hear it all the freaking time. The Congressional Budget Office, which is bipartisan, said that this bill will add $3.4 trillion to our national debt over the next 10 years. We have huge debt. We have huge problems that these guys want to talk about and just talk it away and talk about how much money we brought in with these tariffs. That's money out of your and I pocket that pays for these tariffs. It has nothing to do with anything else. I mean, a great example, General Motors said already this year, it's cost them about $1 billion so far. And it may cost them another $5 billion with these tariffs because they're pulling parts from Canada. They're pulling parts from Mexico. And basically, it's not helping business. They're not building manufacturing in this country. They're not going to be building factories. I mean, that is just a bill of goods that's been sold to us that's just not realistic. Think about it. You won't have to think about it much more than that. Basically, all these tariffs are doing is taking working class money and giving it to the uber rich.
And oddly enough, there was a plan to build factories, especially in red states. It was under Biden, and the Republicans, we're not going to touch that. Well, yeah, they lied. Surprise.
Well, infrastructure rebuilding and manufacturing is a little bit different than we're going to produce, 100% American workers are going to produce American cars. I mean, when could you have lived in a society like that where it was all American? Like, what are we even talking about here?
Well, yeah, the 50s.
Okay.
And I remember because it was kind of funny. Our grandfather worked for U.S. Steel for a long time, and he was one of the first people to start driving a Honda in the 70s. which I always thought it was kind of funny because like steel workers, people that he worked, he was like I don't know if he was in sales. He did
He was
something
in
in
sales.
the executive offices, but you know, the real steel workers, the people that worked in the mills, wouldn't be caught dead showing up in a foreign car.
But the salesman, wow.
Yeah, which you know tells you a little bit about the character of our grandfather and just you know how people feel about foreign cars or how they felt about them back then because you know
It was a big
Detroit was
deal.
humming.
Yeah.
You know, when Detroit, I forget who it was, but somebody once famously said, as GM goes, so goes the US economy. And when times were good and it was humming along and we didn't have much foreign competition, things were great, man. You know, GM and the car companies were buying a lot of steel, the mills were working, people were working, they were good union jobs. And then, you know, we let it all go to shit.
Well, yeah, some of that we just wanted to send the manufacturing overseas so we can make more profit.
Hmm.
Not necessarily thinking about the workers. Others will tell you that the steel workers priced themselves out because they were getting paid outrageous amounts of money,
Yeah,
too much. I like to think there's somewhere of an in between there at some point.
there is. Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of tension amongst the steel workers representatives. There was a fellow that in the early to mid 70s was trying to take over the head of the union, and he was a little bit more left of center. And the old guard was like, "Well, we need to get along with the steel companies," and you know they became a little too close. You know, they were lunching at the same clubs. But long story short, yeah, I mean, you had a gentleman named James Ling out of Dallas who came in and put together a consortium to buy LTV steel, which was the start of the downfall of the steel industry in the States. And yeah, you know, people talk about how, you know, there was waste and abuse amongst the union jobs, and maybe there were. I mean, you're going to have that. I mean, you've got executives that pad their own pockets too
Of course.
and aren't looking out for the, you know, the best interest of the corporation. But at the same time, I mean, these were good working class jobs. They were well paid with good benefits. And you could have a stay at home wife and
Sure.
raise two or three kids and live in a suburb, as our neighbor did across the street,
That's right.
you know, and those went away because the corporations and people like James Ling said, hey, you know what, we can make a lot more money by, you know, getting rid of these steel workers or cutting their union benefits and, you know, plenty of overseas competition. And that's what they did.
Well, and now in the complete full circle, the U.S. government owns some of U.S. Steel, which is owned by Japan.
Yeah, how about that? And Trump has the veto power over any decisions they make, which is
Sure does.
just
Catch him on a good day because he's got a lot going on. Very busy guy, this Trump fella. Yesterday, I'm sure you heard, as a football fan that you are, and put this guy out because he's like suave. Um, he called him the Washington whatevers, but they better change their name back to Redskins pronto. Okay.
yeah. You're not hearing anything. There's like literally no comment coming from the Washington Commanders ownership, so that'll be interesting. I mean, so like you know the team wants to move back to the DC area where they were for years and years and years before moving out to I guess Landover, Maryland. So they're looking to move back, and they're going to need, I guess, government approval to build their stadium there. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, how committed are you to moving your team back? I mean, are you willing to sell out to the whims of this guy who is just, you know, clearly off his rocker?
Well, and I want to stay on this point, but same thing with Coke and cane sugar. The tie to his friend in South America that makes the cane sugar, who also had kind of a relationship in that circle that we're not talking about right now. Trump all of a sudden sounds like, hey, Coke has a deal to use cane sugar and other products, and then Coke says, well, it's nice he thinks about us, but we never had this conversation. And then, of course, it's 3 days later, and they appreciate the kindness of Trump talking about their product. They're going to put out a complimentary sugar-based Coke, not to replace their current product that uses high fructose corn syrup, but just to kind of appease the master. We're going to put this out. It'll be special. I know that they often, I mean, it's already done in Mexico, not a big deal. But during Passover, they'll have Coke will put out a product with pure cane sugar. But the bottom line is they're like, no, we'll do this because he mentioned it. It'll be like more of a promotional thing, but we're not changing our product.
Yeah, I mean, why would you? On the whims of this guy, and
fructose corn syrup, we're going with it.
they'll probably just put out a special can and fill it with the same stuff.
Maybe it'll be like a Trump can or something cool.
Yeah. Open a can of Trump ass.
And just to go back to the Washington thing, I mean, he just can't stop. He just continues on. Our great Indian people want this in massive numbers. There's a huge clamoring for this in the Indian community. You know, he just goes on and on. I haven't really seen any of that.
No.
But he feels like it's just we live in a country of passion and common sense. And his last words were, get it done. Okay? Get it done.
Yeah. Peepaw needs to take a nap.
So we are going to see. He must have woke up a little cranky, or he heard that
somebody soiled their diaper and needs a change.
Heard that they were reporting to camp this week. I think more than half the teams are in camp right now.
Yeah.
On a side note, there was video yesterday from Cowboy Camp giving credit to Pickens making these 2 touchdown catches in practice. It was filmed from last year. Steeler fans don't get too outraged. Pickens is an amazing athlete. He makes some incredible catches. But he does have some issues as far as
he's got some issues. And here's the thing. I mean, you lost 5 straight with him, although he missed a couple of those games. But I mean, you know, you show up at noon for a Christmas Day game. You show up late after the, you know, inactives have already been turned in. So if you don't show up, you're short a receiver. And you're in your 3rd year. You know, maybe you can see it as a rookie, a guy that's a little bit immature, you know, isn't quite prepared to step up to the next level. And maybe it was a young receiver room and there wasn't somebody to take him under their wing or grab him by the face mask and tell him, you need to block, you need to finish your routes. You know, you can understand that in the 1st year, but guy was in his 3rd year and he seemed to get more unstable every season. So as, you know, as amazing as that talent was, he was just better off somebody else's problem.
And he might be great in Dallas, and I certainly don't wish him any ill will. I just thought it was funny that, you know, we deal with all this fake news constantly. I'm watching video. I can't see a number. They all look pretty much the same in camp. It was literally the first day, and they're passing it off as another great catch. It's like,
yeah, which, hey, listen, the guy's awesome. I wish him the best. But again, you know, you hope to see, because I really think he's clearly got some deep-seated emotional issues.
That's why he went so low in the draft.
You're fighting with fans. I mean, just what are you doing?
Yeah, you know, I think his teammates got tired of having to kind of calm him down on the side.
Yeah, they literally had to assign, I think, Pat Freiermuth, the starting tight end, had to keep an eye on him on the sidelines when, you know, there's no time for that.
Sure.
And so, yeah, I think guys got sick of it. I think after one of those losses during that 5-game streak, one of the veterans who, I don't know who it was, they didn't really say, but, you know, made the comment, you know, I think you can tell who's partially responsible for this. So, you know, it was time. He needed to move on. He would have been a complete distraction this season because they clearly were not planning on, you know, offering him a new contract. So you would have had like the holdout through camp and just, you know, the guy's mercurial. You don't know what he's going to do. He's incredibly immature. So, yeah, best of luck to him. I hope he gets his act together. He doesn't seem like a bad guy.
He's in a good situation. Jerry Jones is a weird owner. He may love him. He's certainly going to love his athleticism and his abilities. So, you know, maybe it'll work out for both of them. That'd be great.
Yeah. So we'll see. But, you know, it's one less headache for the Steelers.
For sure. But again, you know, good luck. I did want to jump to this real quick. It's with the EPA. Eliminates research and development office as it begins thousands of layoffs. I talked a little bit with Tim the other day. He's a huge fan of R&D, obviously. His corporate background, the company that he worked for. I talked about, you know, the idea is to be first. He compared it to light beer. If you're the first light beer, you're going to find some loyalty. You kind of set the pace, and then everybody's chasing you. The EPA, it's the same thing. I mean, research and development, what are we talking about? Today, Qatar is going to be 133 degrees Fahrenheit at 1 in the morning. 1 in the morning. There's like no relief.
Yeah.
Now, the heat index during the day, they're at about 140 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, that's insane.
Those numbers, and we talked about what was on the Persian Gulf in Iran. It's just nuts. So you're looking at the planet heating up, and you're going to lay
Rapidly.
off 1,500 staffers at the EPA and R&D. It just doesn't make any sense when we're trying to solve this crisis and you're limiting manpower to do it. $300 million just for fiscal 2026. They're reducing spending to levels that we had under Reagan in the 80s.
Who was also no friend of the environment.
Yeah, and he hated the environment. So you're
Yeah,
talking
James
about
Watts. He had a real nut job as his Secretary of the Interior, I guess. But yeah, it was just, that's bad, man. It's like the city's on fire. We're gonna fight. We're gonna, cut all the firemen.
Yes.
Or, and again, it's just so the morbidly wealthy can hang on to a little bit more money, and so they can feel even better about themselves.
Well, it's not going to be very comfortable.
This is ridiculous. And I saw Tim's segment. He made a lot of good points, and he was right on target there. It's just, why would you do that? There is literally no good reason for that.
Yeah, you're not finding much waste, fraud, and abuse, and that's their buzzword, which I'm hearing less and less because even Doge couldn't find it. And what they did get rid of, they laugh it off and say, "Oh, well, we hired those people back." But there's something about consistency that keeps you on a pace. Now we're going to restart. The denigration of science causes long-term damage to public health, environment, and scientific programs. I mean, the ocean surface right now is warming faster than it did in the 80s. So
that's crazy.
I mean, we're actually seeing this in real time, yet we're still pretending, that we can cut 400 positions in the EPA offices because who needs them, right? I mean, it's cyclical. This happened before. I don't remember temperatures like this ever.
No, not like this. And it's a big contribution to the flash flooding we're seeing too. Because with the superheated moist air that's coming up, it's literally causing these torrential downpours.
What do they call it? Like a heat dome, I think is what they keep.
Well, the heat dome is the heat. I forget what they call this, but yeah, I was just reading about it.
But the heat dome entraps all that moisture.
Well, then that superheated air meets cooler air, right? And you get these giant storms, and I'm not sure if I'm explaining it right, but it literally wrings all of the water out of the atmosphere, and it comes down in a huge deluge. And that's where you get this flash flooding,
which we've been seeing a bunch of all over the country. It's not just in one spot.
But let's not only get rid of the EPA and NOAA, but let's throw FEMA in there too. We really don't need that anymore either. Well, I mean, it's insane. It is literally insanity, and you're seeing this all on the whims of one guy who's following the plan of a bunch of nut jobs from Project 2025. I mean, these fools, this is all becoming policy. And again, this was an open book test that the voters failed because this was all out there. It was all right in front of us. Nobody either cared to believe it or read it.
Or they failed just enough to have it be taken from them.
Well, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the case in New York goes. Because again, I do think that she won the election. I really do. I think that these numbers are extremely questionable. And, if Musk is going to come out and say that Trump was on the Epstein list, come a little further and give us the details on this election because it's important.
Yeah, I would agree. And none of us know what kind of change that could create. I know the current path we're on is very troublesome.
It's extremely troublesome.
I just want to finish on the fossil fuel because that's what we love and need more of. Obviously, Trump's a huge fan. We're going to take care of the fossil fuel peeps. But it does set back green progress decades. We're not talking about a year or two. These are decades. So in Trump fashion, he invents a national energy crisis, which we don't have, which expands justifying or to help justify expanding oil and gas and coal while slashing green energy because we got to have it now. You heard me. It's an emergency. We got to get this oil out of the earth, which is insane.
That's
and
insane.
Then again, It sets back our environmental progress decades.
Well, it does, and it goes back to what Tim was saying about R&D. Why wouldn't you want to be the leader in green technology? China's doubling down on it.
Yeah.
Because there's, it's not only good for the planet, but there's money to be made.
Sure.
And it's the way things are trending. I mean, if the oil industry had thought this way back in the 70s, we'd be in a very different spot. And if Al Gore had contested the 2000 election, maybe we'd be in a very different spot. But
no doubt
instead, they rigged it for an oil man to take over and, start some wars. And, we are where we are now. But
you want a businessman running things into the ground, okay? Because at least they know how to get to bankruptcy quickly.
Well, a smart businessman knows, like Tim said, that research and development is where it's at. It's an investment that is always going to pay off. And, we've lost that leadership. I mean, other countries are going to take it over, but, it's still the wave of the future because it has to be.
Well, it was the wave of the future 20 years ago, and we're just still clawing at the oil wells and hoping for the best.
Well, Trump wants to go back to the 50s when, the good old days.
Big cars, big money.
Cars and, black people couldn't live in my neighborhood and women couldn't vote or have a checking account. And, life was great for the wealthy white man. But
that's what happens when you get demented. You start remembering your past a lot more. You lose decades and you start talking about things like Tip O'Neill being the Speaker of the House.
Yeah, sure.
Been a while.
And the white Christian nationalists and the evangelicals are they're only too happy to go along with this because, then we can control abortion and we can tell women what to do, when to have kids. And, it's just.
For sure.
It's a really fucked up cabal.
This was in 6 months of Trump's leadership. I did want to add that they're shutting down 10 NOAA labs, specifically ones that conduct research on ways weather changes are affecting the warming of the earth. Firing hundreds of scientists and experts working on climate change will definitely impact this country. But
it'll impact this country, and the hope and the dream is that those people will be recruited and hired to work overseas and continue with their research.
So they'll save the planet, but I'll still be sweating my back off.
Oh yeah, that's not going to save us. But I mean, yeah, it's a nightmare, and only 6 months. That's the crazy part. It's been 6 months since these idiots took office. And I mean, look at this.
It's just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. That's all I can say.
You knew it was going to be bad, but you didn't think it would be this bad, this fast.
And not this fast. I'm going to put up this. Here's the UN flag. This is in Paris, I believe. It's called UNESCO. It was founded after World War II. It's the Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Agency of the UN. Again, it was we initially joined the United States in 1945. We withdrew in 85 because we didn't we protested their financial management. Also, there was talk of an anti-bias against the U.S. Now, who would have been president in 85?
Ronnie Reagan.
Yeah. So, he was out of his mind. Then we jumped back into it in 2003 with W. Bush. And then, of course, in Trump's first term, he pulled out of this. So the U.S. Promises 8% of the total budget. We're pulling that out. We used to put in about 20% of this budget. And the whole program is to promote peace through international cooperation in education, science, and culture. Again, we're finding that it's too woke. This is our answer. It's too woke. It's out of touch with America first, because that's our whole thing now. America first. We don't need the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And actually we do. And you're not talking about a ton of money for something that seems very worthwhile.
Yeah, it's just short-sighted. It's insane. It really is. That's the only word that I can think of, because it's self-defeating, it's short-sighted, and it's dumb. It literally makes no sense. Why would you pull out of that? I mean, the only way that this planet is gonna manage to be saved is with international cooperation.
Has to be.
That's a good thing. America first. It's literally insane. And it's not something Trump thought of. That goes back to the 40s, by the way. So, he can take as much credit for that as he wants to, but that's an old thing that's been around for a while. And, that pretty much ended with the Pearl Harbor bombing.
Okay. Good to know.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I mean, again, this is the why, which was what Tim was asking. And then let's just bring it back, like America first, America first. I love the thought that we're going to take care of our citizens first. We're going to take care of our disabled, our homeless, our veterans. Isn't that what
Yeah,
that
no,
America
we're not
first
doing that.
means?
We're going to take care of the Christian citizens first, preferably the males.
That's what it seems to be. You're absolutely correct.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no.
Um, yeah, to that point, the average American household right now is $10,000 in credit card debt, $59,000 in student loan, 242,000 in mortgage debt, and $22,000 in an auto loan. So when you say capitalism's amazing and look at all this stuff I have, you actually own none of it. 242,000 on a mortgage seems like a lot, but we just found out the average home price is about 400 plus $1,000 for a home. So
Yeah.
that you put some money down is great. That you still owe 200, almost $250,000 on a house is why the next generation's not being able to afford houses or even putting it on their radar.
Yeah. Yeah, unless you're going to be inheriting a house, the chances of you buying one are not really that good.
And you better inherit in the next 5 years is what they said. So we'll see. Again, we say America first. We are cutting Medicaid. The people that are older, people that are in facilities, etc., they get a big chunk of that Medicaid. Well, we're going to stop all that stuff because we don't need it. You know, they could really probably be picking fruit, maybe even if it's just with one hand, whatever it takes, skin in the game type of thing. As if these people that are on Medicaid didn't work for 40 years and just happened to fall into financial or health issues or fill in the blank. I mean, shit happens.
Oh yeah, well, and you have people that are older that are disabled that are they're called duals. They're on Medicaid and Medicare, and so they're going to be doubly screwed.
Great.
And yeah,
Don't be looking for drugs either, okay?
yeah, because we're shutting down all that fentanyl that's coming in through Canada.
So much fentanyl coming through Canada. They're like,
It's
is
an
he still
emergency.
here? Jeez.
Yeah, it's insane, man. I mean, and every day something new. I guess we'll see what happens with this whole Epstein thing. Trump seems to be flailing. He has some cracks showing in the little MAGA cult.
I can't
I
wait
don't
till
know.
September. I don't have that kind of time. Then I'm going to wait till September for that to happen. Meanwhile, Arkansas healthcare prices are rising. They're asking for a 26% rate increase. And this can be through the exchange as well. And that's
Oh
for
yeah,
individuals. 26%, some as high as 60%.
dude, it's crazy.
Do you
It's
not want
it's
people to
it's
have health care?
insane. It's insane. And the more you pay, the less you get. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh, you're still
they
paying even if you're covered. You're just catastrophically not going to be thrown into a hole when you're over the line.
Yeah, and let's not forget, under Biden, your medical debt was not reported. It didn't
To the
go against
credit
your credit rating, but we got rid of that.
pretty quickly.
Um, and
Consumer Protection Agency, we don't need that.
yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame that the Roberts Court didn't give Biden the same latitude it's giving Trump because
For
things would
sure.
have gotten done. Student debt would be eliminated.
Yeah, student loan debt. You're
For
absolutely right.
once, you'd see the wealth trickling back down. You'd see the big financial institutions and the people that preyed on these students, having to eat the load instead of, people that are just that wanted to get an education and are going to be saddled with debt the rest of their lives. It's
We had
unconscionable.
our veterans ripped off by a bank to the tune of $80 million in overdraft fees.
Yeah.
The government went to court and they were going to get their money back. They were being paid in the process of being paid, and Trump stopped that. No more.
Yeah.
Why would you not let them be reimbursed for money that was illegally taken from them?
Because the
Yet,
cruelty is the point. Trump at heart is just a cruel, vicious, deeply insecure person, somebody who cares only for himself. He's extremely sensitive. Any insult is remembered and stored away in that little pea brain of his. I mean, he's not a good human being.
well, and then we take it when we always are saying, the us and them, haves, the have-nots. His labor department now wants to propose a rule where companies no longer need to pay 3.7 million home care workers the federal minimum wage. they also won't be eligible for overtime. And I think between you and I, we've seen enough of these home in home care workers. You don't necessarily just leave on that hour if you're cleaning something up or you have your patient's in duress. I'm going to put up a picture that looks super clean, but this is not the reality. Sure, she helped him up. There's nothing on that desk. I mean, it's a great staging area, but these people are living in it, and it's hard. Some people need help using the facilities. Some people need help eating. Some people need help bathing, and you don't even want to pay them a federal minimum wage.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, that is a hard job, and it's a necessary job with an aging population, a rapidly aging population. People of our generation are seeing it. I mean, we're taking care of aging parents, some of them suffering from dementia or, other issues. And for these people that are able to come in and do that work, and it's a lot of women, it's a lot of minorities, to not even give them the federal minimum wage when they should be making double that, because it is a hard work. You're literally cleaning up human waste. You're cleaning up food. You're dealing with people that literally cannot take care of themselves. And a lot of times people suffering dementia get downright nasty. And not in the sense of like dirty, they just get mean. They can be, they can be violent.
Their filter's
They
gone.
can be hateful.
Yeah.
That is a really, really hard job. And so to cut the wages on those people, it's ridiculous. It's cruel.
And it's just what you said. It's care. It's really hard because you're not just there punching a clock, cleaning up soiled towels or whatever. You're giving care. You're giving care generally an 8-hour shift, if not longer. And that is exhausting. And for anybody that has to leave a loved one that's in that kind of situation in the hands of somebody, you certainly appreciate the work that they do, the time that they put in, the care that they give. And we're just not necessarily valuing that because
no, not at all.
That didn't throw a wedding in Italy, or that doesn't have a giant yacht on the Washington Post, or fill in the blank.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, and a lot of people that are caring for an elderly parent or are trying to do it all on their own. They're trying to hold, handle their own life and deal with it personally. I mean, when our mom had to stay with you for a while, up in the middle of the night, accidents. It's imagine that while still, maybe you're in the middle of the meeting and your mom's walking out the door. It's
I don't mean to laugh, but you're absolutely right. I mean,
it's
2 a.m.
overwhelming.
And she's like, I need to get up. Lazy Mary. I need to get up. I'm like, let me show you the time. It's 2 a.m. You don't have to get up. I got to get going. Day's getting away from me. And it's heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking.
And exhausting. And you're right. And thank God I had the support system that we had to be able to get that help internally. And it also helped that she was an amazing woman that people cared about because she was so tremendously kind and giving and caring. But not everybody's like that. And you're not always going to be in a situation where we were fortunate enough to find good people to help in a really lousy situation.
Yeah, it's ridiculous to put people in that position only because you want to have more money for the morbidly wealthy. But on a side note, I was walking into Barnes and Noble earlier today, and an older woman, probably about mom's age, maybe a little bit younger, but looked kind of similar to her, was in front of me, and I held the door for her, and she went through. And there was a piece of paper on the ground, and she bent over and picked it up to throw it away. And I thought about, Granny, who always said, "What you see something, you pick it up, you throw it away, just keep going."
How hard is it to pick it up?
Yeah, it reminded me of her.
So true. Well, that's kind of nice, and I just assume her.
There's my happy ending. Done.
We're almost at the happy ending, Billy. I just wanted to throw one thing out that I thought was kind of interesting. I'm going to put this up here. July 25th, 2024. Yeah. I happened to see, I'm from Pennsylvania, as you know, Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. China put out this, and I did trace the validation of where this came from, but China, and it's basically Hong Kong, is no longer buying poultry from Lancaster County, Pennsylvania.
Huh.
We haven't heard about it, but as I went down the research hole and saw the documentation of it, there's H5N1 going on. So not only Hong Kong imports 12,000 tons of chilled and frozen poultry from Lancaster, along with almost 2 million eggs. Those purchases were made just in the first 3 months of this year. So they're a pretty good customer. But now you have H5N1, which we're not hearing about, and they're saying, no, thanks. We'll get our meat someplace else.
Wow.
And again, like, unless you're at that plant in Lancaster, I don't know that you're hearing it. I know that our HHS guy is not talking anything about bird flu. We're not talking about COVID. And I'm not going to go into that now because you're so close to your happy ending. But COVID's in pretty much every state. I had a bunch of statistics from it the other day. I want to say, you know, I wish I had the specifics because I just don't want to say. But it's a real thing. People aren't testing necessarily because it's not a huge deal, I guess. But the numbers are not making me feel real warm and fuzzy when you're in the middle of summer and most people are outside doing stuff. It'd be different if we're going into fall. It'd be different if people are indoors getting each other sick. But that's really not the case. This is just something we've put our head in the sand about. It's nothing we really care about. And if you look at any of the stuff online, some of these research people, it's a little terrifying if you go down the rabbit hole on COVID. I mean, we already know very little about long COVID, but he's like, it's more than a respiratory system. You could almost compare it more to cancer. And when it's something we don't do R&D or even want to look into a little bit deeper, it makes you wonder again, like, why? Are we really trying to get down to 100 million Americans because we really hate people that much and we're overpopulated? You know, what's the end game on this? Because I don't know who's cutting grass. You know what I mean? Who's doing any of this work?
Well, and yeah, and you know, we've been under a heat advisory all week. It's been miserably hot and humid here. And
Yes.
who's getting up on a roof? Who's going up there and doing that? Those shingles get hot enough to burn your skin. It's, you know, it's dangerous and physically demanding work under the best of circumstances. But when you throw in this kind of heat and humidity, who's getting up there and doing that?
I'm just going to use one example. You send out 4 white guys. They take one of those blue tarps. They put it on somebody's house after a tornado. I see giant ropes that are like tied to lampposts, and it just looked like the craziest configuration. It was like making a tent. So you staked it at the base and your thing's covered. We've had enough storms since then, even just wind and rain. That thing wasn't staying. It was pretty shredded. So at the beginning of the week, I saw a group of Hispanic men come out. The tarp is like legit. It's on the top of the house as it's supposed to be. I went back today. It's totally secured. And, you know, it was like night and day. Ability or wherewithal to do it right. I don't know where the disconnect is, but I do know that one did a really poor job that didn't last, and one showed up day after day to get it right. So I think we should give more credit to those that actually show up and worry less about the color of their skin.
Yeah. I mean, I remember seeing a few summers ago, there's a roofing company, and you know, they put the sign in the yard saying who they are, and it was All American Roofing, which by All American they meant all white guys. And these guys just looked like the crew of a pirate ship. I mean, not a whole lot of work was getting done, but you know, the the music was blaring. Again, not a whole lot of work getting done, but you know, these guys were having a good old time, and the work that they were doing looked kind of sloppy. So yeah, I don't know that I'd be really wanting to get the all-American roofers out there when there are people. Dude, you watch them work. They're up there from early in the morning until, you know, dusk, until it gets too dark to work.
It's so hot that these men were shirtless. And normally they're in long pants, long shirt, and hat. But it has been so steamy, lack of air, that yes, even they went shirtless. Which
yeah, dude, those shingles get hot.
it's so hot.
They soak
Agreed.
up the heat. So yeah, kudos to those people that are doing that work.
Absolutely. And I will just say, dig a little bit for your own health and safety. COVID is around. Check and see if it's in your area, because more than likely it is. And I'm not saying panic about it, but be aware. During travel, I would highly advise wearing a mask because there's all kinds of stuff just going around.
Yeah.
So, one guy's opinion who's trying to do a little bit of research and share with you. I will get to the happy ending. This is probably catty, but I'm going to say that Alina Habba, her 120 days as Attorney General of New Jersey are up. The federal judges took a vote and they said no thanks. I think she asked if her 3 portraits could stay in the cafeteria. They said no.
No, he goes with you.
She'll be back at the White House. Get used to her because I'm sure she'll be busy, lying and talking about all kinds of great Trump stuff. I can only assume, but let me put up a picture just so you know who I'm talking about. Very important. She does love her some Trump.
Oh yeah.
And I thought she was oh my goodness. Are they sharing necklaces? What is happening here?
Whoa.
I think I've seen that before on KK Caroline.
Yeah.
Look at that thing.
She was completely incompetent. But you strap on that cross and it's all good.
It's all good. A lot of respect right there. Anyway,
Yeah.
my true happy ending is this gentleman last night. Scenes got the victory for the Pirates last night, which doesn't happen very often. He had a good night. I think he went 6 innings. He had 10 strikeouts. He's just amazing. He's on a terrible team. So his win-loss, we don't even look at. This guy's definitely a Cy Young candidate. He's extremely special on a really especially bad team.
Yeah, it's a shame. And you might even say intentionally bad team because the GM has just been so incompetent. And this is the 5th year.
He's in his 6th year, isn't he?
Is he in his 6th year? Anyway, he had the nerve to go on his radio show and say, well, we're going to win in 2026. Like, no, you're not. Not with you at the helm.
No, he's terrible. And they're about to make some trades that are really scary because they have some talent, but he stinks at it.
Yeah, they've got a really solid pitching staff. All you need are a couple of hitters. And dude, this guy's an incompetent boob.
He's terrible.
I mean, they put out after the draft last week, they put out like a little pump-up video showing, like a bunch of their analytics people behind their laptops high-fiving. And it's like, this is just pathetic, to the action music.
He should have been fired years ago. Some of those trades he made were so bad.
Oh my God.
The last one, he got rid of a pitcher who's now has 10 wins for Milwaukee, Priester. He didn't get much Pirate support. Maybe his mechanics weren't ideal, but he's clearly killing it this season. And you got nothing for him. The guy that you traded with to get him, I believe from the Red Sox, hasn't even come up for a cup of coffee in the major leagues. That's on you. When you're incompetent and you make bad decisions, you should be fired. And it's
but when you work for Bob Nutting and the Pittsburgh Pirates, apparently you can do whatever you want to. It's just it's ludicrous, and the fans are upset.
Finally,
and I don't blame them. I mean, they're planes flying over, towing banners. Sell the team. There's people chanting, "Sell the team."
They've had 3 sellouts: opening day, Skeens bobblehead night, and Mac Miller bobblehead.
Yeah, Mac Miller bobblehead, and that's it. Because those tickets aren't cheap.
No, it's expensive.
Now you could probably show up the night of the game and pick one up on the street, and it's a great stadium. It's a beautiful ballpark. But it's the team stinks, and it's pathetic. It really is. And every time this guy's made a trade, he's gotten they can't wait to deal with him because they take his lunch every time.
He's been terrible.
He's terrible. He's so incompetent. And the ironic thing is that it came down to Charrington, who they hired as a complete boob, and the guy running the Brewers now, the GM of the Brewers, who are always in contention, a very well-run franchise, and they hired the wrong guy.
$112 million payroll, small market team, and he's done an amazing job there. They picked the wrong guy, clearly, and then you stayed on with the wrong guy. Let me finish on Skeens. First 44 games for a pitcher, He's the only pitcher ever in the first 44 games to have a less than 2.20 ERA and more than 165 strikeouts. His ERA is 194. So 2.20, that's a pretty good ERA. 1.94 is spectacular. He has 307 strikeouts, which is a lot more than 165 strikeouts. First guy ever to do it. He's incredible. If you ever get a chance and he's on the road, I don't know if you care for baseball, I would have a hard time sitting there, but he would be a guy that would probably get me into a seat to watch.
Yeah, he's like a generational talent, and you know, they'll have him the way the current structure is. They'll have him through next season. So, you know, maybe the owners will be able to push for a salary cap. We'll see. But yeah, if you're a Pirates fan, enjoy him while you have him. And you know, it's a shame, but
Well,
good
let's
to
not
see
get
him get a
too far
win.
down the rabbit hole with where he's going. Okay, you'd be a fool to let that guy go. But we'll see. Anyway, Billy, that's my happy ending. Are you sticking with the Granny K happy ending? What do you got?
I'm sticking with that. Yeah, that was a good one.
I think it's a good one. Well, I appreciate having you back. We did miss you the other day, and I will let you go until next time.
All right, good to be back, and you know, look forward to you know, having Tim on with us. Right, so
okay,
I'll
keep you posted. Reggie, have a good rest of your day. I'll see you later for ice.
You too, buddy. Nice job.
You too. Thank you. See ya.